Hello everyone. So I'll be showing you how I query data from Amazon Redshift. So currently I'm on Amazon S3 and I'm here because I had to load the data set to Amazon S3 before loading it from Amazon S3 to Amazon Redshift. So after you've signed up on AWS, you can get to Amazon S3 by clicking storage and then clicking S3. Yes, so that's how I got here. I already created my bucket called TransTech. So you can click create your bucket here and type it, add the necessary configurations, and then create the bucket. But I've already done that, so we'll go back to where my bucket is, and I got here by clicking this, then click it, and have already uploaded my CSV file. To upload your CSV file, you click upload, you select whether it's a folder or a file. If it's a file, you add files and add it from your directory, but if it's a folder, you click add folder and then add what you want to add. So going back, now I have my Uber CSV. So let's go on to Amazon Redshift now. You click analytics and then click Amazon Redshift. If you've not created your free trial on Amazon Redshift, you'll be prompted to do that. So I've already done that. That's why I can't see that prompt again. And as you can see, I have $234 out of the free 300 trial credits. And while you're creating your trial, they are going to give you a namespace and work group. So this is not something that you create out of the blues. It's something you're going to create while signing up on your trial. So I'll just click this and go on to default again on workgroup. Then I'll click query data to go to the workspace where I can now query my data. And yes, we are here. So I've already done the necessary things. I've loaded my data, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So when you come here, you're not going to see any connection here. You're most likely not going to see any connection here. So you're going to be prompted to add connection, and then you're going to add this serverless default. And then when I added the serverless default, there are now several databases that are attached here. So you're going to use this dev and then public. So when the serverless default is here, you already have this dev. So you're going to be the one to create the tables. So this public is the schema. So I created the schema first, because you have to create a table in a schema. Then I went on to create the table called, this table is called Uber 2014. So let me show you how I quickly created the table. You select the serverless default, select the database, select the schema, which was this public that I created, and then you type the name of your table. Now you need to load a CSV file to map your columns, or it's left for you to also type them in. But to make it easier for me, I loaded this CSV file, and then let's find it, loaded it. Okay. So I loaded the CSV file and all the columns we are already mapped here. So now you notice this date has the data type varchar, and that's not what I want. I want to change it to a date format. So I'll just click on it and choose date. Then I also need this to be in a time format. I'll click on it and choose time. So I could choose timestamp or time with time zone or time without time zone. Mine did not have time zone, so I just clicked time. And then I don't have any other table to model the data, so I did not put any column as primary key or unique key. I left it that way. Then I clicked create table. So that was how I created my table called Uber 2014. So time to load my data. I did not want to load it from my local file because it's only limited to a maximum limit of 5 MB, and my data set is around 300 MB. So I loaded it directly from the S3. That's why I uploaded it in S3 first. So now to get this S3 URI, you go back to your Amazon S3. Go to storage, S3. And then you click this Transtech project, your bucket, and then you click this, you check this box beside your data set. If you notice, when you don't check the box, all this will be gray, but when you check the box, all this will now be dark. Then you now copy this S3 URI and come here to paste it. And then this S3 file location, is US East 1. And how did I get that? For me to get my location, I went back to this first one. I clicked this home button and then I clicked here. So look at it, is US East 1. So that's how I got my location. So I'll come back here and click US East 1. Then it's a CSV file. I go to file options, the delimiter is comma, and I did not encrypt this option. You choose this when you're creating your bucket. There is one of the options where you choose to encrypt your data or not. So I did not encrypt my data, so that's why I didn't check this box. And then I did not compress my data, so I'm not choosing any compression format. So this is very important. You need to pay close attention to this. So you accept characters that are not valid. No, I don't want that. I don't want any replacement string. There's a time format. I chose auto, so it will go with the default. And then I don't want to truncate my data. I don't want to load specify strings as null. I want to keep it null if there is any null value. And I'll ignore the header rows because remember that you've already created your tables with column names. So I'm ignoring the header rows so that the header rows will not be included in the first row on my data set. Then I will accept this date format, and then I will accept any date in case there is 000. I don't want it to throw an error. Then if there is any blank field, I will leave it as null. And I also load empty character fields as null. And then my encoding is UTF-8. And I don't want to fill any missing columns. And I don't want to ignore blank lines. I don't have numeric values, so I'm not rounding up any numeric values, so I'll leave this like this. And then I'll remove the trailing white spaces in any of my values. So now you click done, and then you're back here. Then the load operations, I'm not choosing anything here because I don't need any of this, so I'll go back. and then I'll choose my serverless default, dev schema is public, and then table is Uber 2014. So I'll map my data now. Remember, we already added the columns for the table, so I'll just click it in the order. This is important. If your main data set is different from, if the order of columns in your main data set is different from the order of columns you've already created, you need to pay attention to this. So mine is already in order, so I'll just click it in this order and then choose the IAM rule. I created this IAM rule when I was creating my serverless default cluster. So click this and then I'll load the data. So that's how I loaded my data, and I'm here. So now we are going to be answering the queries that I've already written down in my VS Code. So first of all, I already saved the queries, so I'll show you how to save a query. So any queries that you save will come over to this place, so that's why it's here. So the first question is, what are the earliest and latest times of the writes? So I already labeled this as earliest and latest time, so I'll double click and I'll run this. It's not supposed to take this much time. And it didn't return anything. Okay, let's find out why. Okay, so I think it's because I put public dots, though it's not supposed to affect this, but let's just remove that public dot. So this is my value. Now, how did I save this query? I clicked save here. So when you click save here, it's already saving it because I already saved it before. But if you've not saved it before, okay, let me show you. Let's open another tab. Open another tab is editor I want, not notebook. Then I'll paste it. So if I want to save this, it will bring out this prompt to type in the title, and then I'll save. But I don't need this, so I'll cancel. So I'll go back to my queries, and then the second one, how many rides were there in each month? Rides by month. I'll double click and run my data, run my query, and I got these results. Yeah, so we'll go back to our queries and then get the next question. What were the total rides for the top 10 pickup counties? Okay, let me quickly explain something based on this earliest. No, that's not the one. I'll show you something later on. So what were the total rides for the top 10 pickup counties? Okay, before we do that, let's go back to this where we got this select. Okay, so showing you something now. I want to show you why this September, August, July was like this instead of like this. Because if you select the dates, these are second results. This is the second one I wrote. So if you select these dates, you will notice that it's written like this. But then I need to make my readers or viewers understand the particular months and not start calculating it in their head. I needed to use this to-char function. So this to-char function helps me to do the math and then get the actual months in text counted everything for me. So if you want your viewers to understand months instead of showing them actual dates, you can just do it this way. So then answering the third question, that's the top 10 peacock counties. I'll go to rides by counties. I put descending because I want the top to be at the top, but they need top 10, so we'll add limits 10. And then here's the top 10. So you'll notice it's a similar result to what is here. Don't worry, I'll add the GitHub link of this readme file. I'll add the link on the description in the YouTube video. Then going to the next question to answer. What are the total rights for the bottom 10 peacock counties? So we need the bottom. We'll go back to this our editor. We'll just change this, we'll just remove this. The default is ascending, and then we'll run it. So you now notice these are the bottom ones. Then the next one is what were the total rights for the respective pickup locations. So we'll go back to rights by location. I want the highest to lowest, so that's why we put this descending, and here we have it. So New York City has the highest, and New Jersey, New York State, and Connecticut. So New York City is within New York State, but I put them, I manually did this differently to show that Uber is focused more on the New York City than New York State. I explained all this in the GitHub, so you can look at that in the link in the description later. And what were the total rides by day? Okay, let's look at by day. Okay, I intentionally did this to show you something. So this query cannot run because the current limit of 3 connections has been reached. In serverless default, because it's free trial, there are some limitations, and that's not having more than 3 tabs here. So the moment it reaches 3, you just, I don't want to save them, so I'll just don't save, just remove it that way, don't save. That's one. I'll then run the rides by day. So Thursday has the highest, to Friday, to Wednesday, Tuesday, and the rest. So these are the rides by day. I arranged it from the highest to the lowest. How many vehicles are located to the registered base stations and locations? So this is our last question. And rides by bases. So I put this distance base region so that it only bring out, because in the results, in the data set as a whole, base regions can appear several times. So I brought out the distinct one so that I can get the values for them. So that's why it's this way. And then the highest is Brooklyn and Welter, the next is Hinter, Queens, and that. So this is how to use AWS Redshift in querying your data. You can also connect AWS Redshift to visualization tools if you want to use visualization tools like Power BI and Tableau, but you need to connect it through the ODBC drivers. That one will be in a different video later on. Alright, so thank you very much.